Well, it's been labelled as David versus Goliath. The away side looking confident there, but they'll surely know what a task they've got ahead of them here. Yeah, there's no getting away from the fact it's a young side and it's an inexperienced side. We know they are difficult to break down, but could this be a step too far at this moment in time? I don't know, but I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be very tough. Well, we mentioned the nature of the task he's up against. Let's have a look at it. Between the sticks, it's the bearded vulture. We all know he's territorial and isn't afraid to get stuck in should someone enter his area. It's a tall, imposing back four, all standing over 2,000 metres, but can he find a way around them? Once again, it's that midfield three of the threat of dehydration, the threat of exhaustion, and just ahead of them, the sun, who you'd imagine will work together to try and break him down. Altering the front line, it's Ticks and the Asp Viper, who can be a bit nippy out wide. And let's not forget the danger man up top, the Brown Bear. Well, he's been elusive this season. He often goes missing in big games like this, but you just know how devastating it can be should he show up. It's by far the biggest test yet. It's man versus mountain. It's Atlantic to Mediterranean, and it's live.
J'aime les restaurants français.
You know how they say you should never write your introduction before you've started your essay? You should always do it at the end, because by then you know what you're talking about. That's what this feels like. I'm here on the Atlantic coast in the town of Hendaye, and I'm about to attempt to walk to the Mediterranean on the GR10 trail, and I'll try my best to share the journey with you. Hope you enjoy it.
The GR10 is a trail that traverses the Pyrenees. I was underqualified for the task. I'd done some long walks before, but these had been done on main roads in built-up areas. The mountains will present a whole new range of challenges.
So this is our first bit of trail. Nice feel of gravel under the feet, isn't it? Yeah.
Now, people sometimes discount the art of road walking. They might say things like, it's too boring.
But I tell you what's not boring, the little bakery section, and there's one round every corner, and out here you don't get that.
The lessons came thick and fast, the first of which concerned pacing and hydration.
I was walking up this one ascent, the last ascent I did. It was a bit of a wake-up call, I'd say, because I was up there, and it's not until I stopped that I realised how in the trenches I was. And I was looking around thinking, I'm a bit spaced out here. You know, sunstroke's a strong word, isn't it? But, you know, maybe flirting with the fringes of that.
My target for the first day was to walk 29 miles to the town of Aignois, a target that was achieved but at some cost. The terrain had been more challenging than I'd anticipated, and I was quickly discovering that spending a few months walking around Salford Quays had not been the ideal training programme to prepare me for the undulation of the Pyrenees.
Check this out. What is going on there? That's 200 grams. It's a 200 gram baby bell. I've carried it all the way up here. I may as well have carried an anvil, such is the weight of this object.
It's a dream to do a walk like this, but the problem with dreams is they are engulfed in a mystical haze. In order for the project to be realised, this veil needs to be lifted. Book the flight, start your preparation, and watch the intoxicating vapour surrounding this fantasy dissipate, revealing it to be no more than a simple task that needs to be executed.
I can almost not see the sea anymore. That's good progress, that.
The progress was solid, but I could feel my proposed schedule gradually slipping away beneath my feet.
I am considerably far behind on my plan, and it's only day 2, which doesn't sound great, does it? I essentially looked at the suggested daily mileage and I thought I'll double/triple that. I just about managed it on the first day, and today it's not gone to plan.
Bonjour, qu'est-ce qui se passe? I am out to say a little bit fucked, but what you have to understand is, as the fatigue builds, I don't deteriorate, I only improve. With each step I grow stronger. I don't run the conventional models of fatigue, I'm on a different operating system. Am I worried for what's to come? I'll be very honest with you, I'm worried. I'm worried for the mountains of the Pyrenees and what I might do to them once I get going. The gladiator doesn't flinch when he sees the lion. It's his arena.
Alright, I needed a good wash. Now I just need to find somewhere to camp, preferably before it gets dark. That would be quite ideal. Also, all these little rocks I see out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, that's a bear. It does feel a bit beary down here. Right, I believe this is everything I'm going to be taking. I've got a whistle in case I encounter a bear. Not sure what that's going to do in the event of that. If a hungry bear wants to eat me, I think, you know, the whistle is quite irrelevant at that stage. I'm quite keen to climb above the tree line. I've heard the bears like to chill down here, so I'd rather not camp down here with them. Oh fuck, I've got a nosebleed. That's from stress, that.
At this point I'd become incredibly tense, and what had happened was I'd convinced myself that if I spent the night out in the wilderness alone, I was guaranteed to get eaten by a bear. I'd not seen anyone else for a few hours, and then just as the sun was setting, I rounded a corner, and at the top of the hill I saw a group of French lads with all their tents set up. And I must tell you, I have never laid eyes upon such a reassuring scene.
Parlez-vous anglais?
Ah non.
Non.
Un tout petit peu.
Ça va?
Ça va, ouais. Ça va, et vous? Where do you come from?
Today?
Yeah.
Can't remember.
You know, it can feel sometimes, can't it, like throwing a pebble at a boulder and trying to split it in two. It's never going to happen on the first throw, but once you put a few throws back to back, maybe you start to see a bit of attrition, and that's, I believe, what we're seeing here.
The biggest danger isn't picking the imperfect route to embark on. The greatest peril is instead spending so long trying to work out which is the perfect route that you never actually set off.
What's the most important skill for a task like this? Is it a certain level of physical durability? I don't think so. Is it a disposition to problem solve as opposed to ruminate? No. On a day like today, the most important skill is imagination. Because I know there's a beautiful limestone gorge down there.
Why's the bottom got me see-through then? I can't look. I'll just have to watch this back. Does it look alright to the right?
There's a vast beech forest. I know it's there because I scaled it last night. Now, what do you choose to see? The mind's eye need not be obstructed by the fog. It's all out there.
About 20 minutes ago I saw a woman looking for she showed me a picture of a horse, and then 10 minutes up the road I saw a man, and I think he was asking me, have you seen a woman looking for a horse? She's been gone looking for this horse so long that he's now put the search pie out for her, and I'm not much use because I couldn't even understand the word for a horse. Last night I stayed at Refuge Jean Dial. They gave us a meal and everyone sat together, and it was really nice vibe in there. Everyone was speaking French apart from my guy Lionel. He was translating for me what everyone was talking about. He's from Paris. He works for NGO, but side hustle, he does Californian massage.
This path was cut into these near vertical limestone cliffs in the 17th century and was used to transport timber to help modernise the French Navy.
Ooh. It's hard enough without carrying any timber. Fair play to 'em.
Now, people often cringe when they see me drink out of a natural source. They say it's unhealthy. I mean, it's about as healthy as water can get. They say you'll get ill, yet those very same people are perfectly happy to drink out of the taps in their own homes, despite what Starmer's putting in the water. I mean, this generation are fundamentally lost at sea. And it's a sea of fluoride.
This trail is rammed with people compared to where I've been so far. Dishing out bonjours like a semi-automatic. Bonjour. This is meant to be one of the hardest sections of the trail, and there's apparently a very exposed section which isn't for those with a nervous disposition. I believe I do fall into that category, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm here for an experience, you know what I mean? I survived. Nice. It's been a little bit intense, not much of a chance to coast. Always going up or down, which probably should have anticipated coming to the mountains. I can't tell you how good it feels to put dry clothes on. I gave everything a bit of a wash last night in the river, and then when it came to dry them, the stones had been sat out all day in the sun. They were hot to the touch. It was like nature's heated towel rail. Ski resort town of Gret. I'm going to see if I can get some food and un at the sol. I left my hat 2 days ago somewhere, and I do not want it struck, but I do want to stroke this cat, you know.
Go on, lads! Allez! Keep going! You're doing great!
I don't think it's too theatrical to state that problems carry less weight here. Perhaps their transient nature is emphasised when contrasted with the apparent permanence of the surrounding rock faces.
Them stones are a great massage for the feet. It's like being in a spa. That was a really nice town I was just in. The only thing missing for me was Wetherspoons. Does it take it to that next level, do you know what I mean? But actually, it was good. Somebody needs to do something about this. The council should be gritting. It's disgusting. be kids on it. It's afternoons like this where it counts. Bit tired, bit fatigued. Try not to sell yourself short, even when it's tempting, because it all adds up. You know, you do an hour extra each day at a time when you're not really feeling that extra hour. That could be 20, 30 miles over the course of 10 days.
The trail was the perfect blend of solitude whilst never being too far away from a latte. It's a lifestyle that I could get used to. One thing I fear I may never get used to, however, was the French language, but I've developed a system to navigate this issue.
I did just ring the refuge up, asking if there's any space, and I said, bonjour, parlez-vous anglais? And she just went, no. So I did top tip for you here, if they do that, just carry on speaking English and see if any of it goes in. It didn't, but it's always worth a gamble, because it might be the odd word that's the same. Sometimes great progress can look like cutting through the water effortlessly like a mako shark. On other occasions it can take the form, can't it, of simply treading water, applying all energy into merely staying afloat whilst you wait for the storm to pass. Either way, eventually you will make it to shore. Just don't sink. Another day, another call. This has been a tough climb. I thought I'd never make the top. I'm halfway across the Pyrenees. It's a big milestone, but I think it's important to remember that there's still a lot of work to do. I don't want to get too carried away, and I certainly don't want to let distractions start to creep in. Cronenberg. Sealed Cronenberg.
This is the Ariège department of the Pyrenees. My guidebook assured me that the views were good, not that you'll be seeing any of that today, so just use your imagination for the next couple of minutes if you can.
It's tough climbing for hours, day after day, and this being the reward. It can't go on like this, can it? Wet. And cold. It'll all sort itself out if you just get moving, son. Ah! I'm fucking freezing, man. Is it a path or a waterfall? Get on here. Now we go into the championship rounds. No, it's not always won through a knockout blow. Sometimes you've just got to outlast your opponent. Just stay in the arena long enough. It's been probably the most challenging few days of the walk these past few. It's been very misty. If you dropped me here and asked me, where are you now? Gun to my head, I think I'd say Ripon. There's been hours where I've only been able to see 10 metres in front of me, which does get slightly tedious. How many days can a man walk through fog before he's had enough? But I stayed at a fantastic gîte, an eco gîte, which was very cool, very nice meal, all homemade, everything. You know, a massive friendly dog. Saw some ancient mines, that was pretty cool, pretty scary as well, quite a spooky part of the route that. Managed to not get eaten by a bear. Land of bears. Which was great. And that's a little roundup for you there the past 3 days. You've not missed too much in fact because there's not been a lot to see. It does feel like a long way now because I got over halfway and I thought, yeah, it's in the bag, but so yeah, I think this section is about just staying in the game. People often ask me, are you okay? Have you lost your head? Well, I say, where one could have spent time inhaling the polluted fumes of the city, the recycled air conditioning of the office, I've instead been out here inhaling the clear mountain air for 20 days, where one could have spent time listening to the narrative of the mainstream media, the stories woven by the broadsheet newspaper. I've instead simply been listening to the symphony of churning gravel beneath my feet. Have I lost my head? My mind is about as clear as a mind can become. As spectacles go, I mean just watching the sunrise paint its canvas of these mountain tops here.
Walking changes your relationship with the landscape. A panoramic mountain pass that takes days to earn on foot will be more impactful than if simply driven up to in a car. It's like how a heartbreaking scene in a film will have a more visceral effect if you've had an hour and a half to fall in love with the characters instead of seeing it on YouTube completely out of context. Or how the climax of a symphony resonates more deeply if you listen from the outset as opposed to just skipping straight to the good bit.
My phone broke a few days ago and I'm going to shock you, there's not a lot of phone shops out in the Pyrenees. There's not a lot of shops actually in the recent section I've been on. Some days the closest thing you'll see to a shop is just a man in a hut selling cheese, and he doesn't stock iPhones or even Android for that matter. But then I received a message from my mum on my GPS device. It says, just been chatting to a guy in Costa. He knows Font Romeo, this is a town that's about an hour deviation off the route, quite well. Here we go. And thinks you'll be able to get a phone there. Do you know where I could find a phone shop?
There is like a shop called Orange.
Costa man strikes again. Well, of course. Why should we be surprised? After all, it's long been known that Costa Brighouse is the epicentre of knowledge relating to the availability of cellular devices in obscure Pyrenean towns. It's where we go for answers. That grass there, that's Mediterranean grass, isn't it? You don't get that anywhere else apart from when you go like Mallorca or somewhere, do you? Mediterranean, definitely, you feel it.
The 3 days I spent without my phone were the best of the trip. I usually rely quite heavily on the podcast, but once the option of entertainment was removed from my pocket, I realised that there was in fact enough entertainment around me. The ever-evolving tapestry of the mountain range was enough. Does the bowl of fruit taste sweeter when you know you've not got Haribo's waiting in the cupboard?
Now the time to believe. Does what has at some points felt an insurmountable task now enter the realms of possibility? Just trying to find a cabin here. I've come a little bit off route, maybe like 20 minutes off route for it.
The days had the tendency to blend together. I often couldn't recall where I slept, whether that campsite was last night or 3 nights ago. The order of events only traceable by notable moments, such as seeing the Mediterranean for the first time.
That's it, isn't it? It's a nice sight.
It's an unusual feeling seeing your destination when it's still 3 days away. It's like a pilot being able to see Australia from Heathrow.
These are my emergency sardines. I've carried them about 400 miles across the Pyrenees. And here's the thing, I don't even like sardines. I can't bring myself to eat them. It's a bit daft, isn't it? But is it? Because you see, there's no point in having an emergency chocolate bar. Not with my sweet tooth. Where the chocolate bar would be eaten without the presence of an emergency. The beauty about the emergency sardines is that they only become palatable in the presence of a hunger emergency. So is that daft? Or is it genius? Not for me to say. I've got to go see the pharmacist about his tick bites. I've had 3 tick bites and one of them started to go a bit red.
You're walking from one side to the other of the Pyrenean mountains,
Yes.
so you are ending.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It is a little swollen. You need 20 days treatment, 1 tablet per day.
Tablets.
No injection.
Yes.
It would be terrible.
And after all that palaver was finished, about 9:30 I left town. That late start does put into doubt whether I can finish in 2 days now, but we'll see. If it's 3 days, it's 3 days, you know what I mean?
3 days to go to the sea.
Yes, 3 or 2.
Normally 5.
Really? From
Normally
here?
5. Yes.
Oh.
The end. The good end.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. I think in that direction. Yes, Pyrenees is nice, but not exceptional. But coming from the mountain and seeing the Mediterranean Sea, that is fantastic. I think it is unique. I think.
Yes.
The sun has just set on what is hopefully the penultimate day of my GR10 experience. I did want to go a bit further today, so I had a bit less to do tomorrow, but I was approached by a rather aggressive dog, and then the owner of the dog...
The dogs, if I don't see, escape. Obélix! Obélix!
ran after it and explained to me, because this is just on the border of France and Spain, apparently there's a lot of drugs coming through this area. If they see a hiker, sometimes they I believe that was the symbol for kidnapping. So he says, yeah, don't walk at night. So I'm probably going to follow that advice. And he says I can stay in his family garden here. It means a bit of a big day tomorrow, but I think it's still possible. I have to check the stats on that one. But yeah, it's within reach.
These shoes are 27 days old today, and I was going through a town a couple of days ago and I saw the outdoor shops and I was observing the Solomons in the window, and they were calling my name, and I was thinking, is it time for a swap out here? And then I realised, no, it'd be like having Fabianski in net the entire cup run, and then when you get to the final you're swapping out for Chesney. It's not right. You know, we set off from the Atlantic together and we'll step foot in the Mediterranean. I was worried it would be too steep, but the gradient was never anything that couldn't be dealt with. I feared bears. The most dangerous beast I've seen is when I stumbled upon a placid lake and on the surface of the water saw my own reflection. Sometimes the opponent is more imposing in the mind, but it's never that scary when we actually enter the arena and stand looking at it face to face. jewel down there. Sometimes you're consumed with your thoughts of just getting it finished. Savour it though, savour these moments, yeah? I think you'll recognise this is it. This is the best bit. That's all doing, closing in. And yes, the goal is to get to the end, but this is where we are, this is what we're here for. Is the bit in between the start and the finish. Here we are then. What a great walk. The finish is, you know, it's a bit melancholic. Melancholy. Whatever the word is.